Hi, I want to talk about mobile phones, specifically mobile phone mounts for motorbikes. We all use our mobile phones. We use them for navigation, communication, for music in our helmets as we ride. But how do we mount these to this? I've experienced a couple of systems. The two probably the commonest, most widely used systems, and they are the RAMMOUNT and the QUADLOCK. I used a RAMMOUNT for 2.5 years. Very happy with that. I've just changed over to the QUADLOCK, and I'm going to show you why I've made the change, the pros and cons of each, and then you can decide which way you want to go. So here are the two commonest forms of phone mounts and the two that I've used. This one here is the QUADLOCK, and this one here is the RAMMOUNT. The RAMMOUNT has got a broken iPhone in it, but it serves the purpose. As you can see, I've got one in landscape and one in portrait setting. Doesn't matter, they both can be set either ways, but let's just talk about the pros and cons of each. The first mount I want to deal with is the RAMMOUNT. It's made up of these 4 adjustable prongs that grip onto the phone. There's this rubber safety bond that can be strapped around the edge of the phone. Now, the RAMMOUNT comes as a separate unit. I'll just take off. You can see there's a ball here for adjustability. Then there's an arm for more adjustability, and then there's the handlebar mount. This allows you to mount your RAMMOUNT in any number of orientations, so it's really good for getting exactly the right mounting for you. Mounting the phone itself is really simple. You just open up the arms and put the phone in. So here you can see the phone mounted in the RAMMOUNT, and it's held really securely. I had a couple of issues with this though. On previous phones I had no problem, but you'll see here the one arm is touching the power button and the other arm is touching one of the other buttons, and what that has the effect of sometimes is activating the emergency alarm, which is not something you want to happen. I had it happen a number of times and it called the emergency services, and I then had to say, very sorry, it's a accidental dial. So that wasn't ideal. I must admit it didn't happen on any of the previous phones I used. It's just the shape and button location on the iPhone Pro. You can always just push the phone up a bit higher. So here you'll see the phone is now not touching the buttons on either side, but it is quite high, which kind of makes it a bit ungainly. The other thing I didn't really like is if you don't set it up exactly right initially, as you ride, there is some slack in the way the phone is held, and it can rotate so that you end up riding down the road with the phone off to one side. It's not any less secure, but it just can rotate, which I don't really like. So the RAMMOUNT, as I said, is made up of component parts, and you build the system you want, and you can use it for other things. Here we see the handlebar mount and the short arm, and onto that goes the RAMMOUNT unit. They all work around these ball joints. There's the ball on the back of the RAMMOUNT, and they're held in these jaws and adjusted with that handle, and it's really an excellent unit, and doesn't rust. It just seems to go on forever. The QUADLOCK is an entirely different system. It has a handlebar mount, and then there is an arm that you can use, and the arm is adjustable so that you can rotate the unit around sort of an axis here, and then the fixing part, which is this QUADLOCK piece with this release button, goes on the arm. The arm can also go directly onto the handlebar mount. The thing is, it's less easy to get the perfect position with this as opposed to the RAM mount. You have to keep undoing these Allen keys and changing it around. So it's not as easy a system to have as perfectly fitted as the RAM mount. The other thing about the QUADLOCK system is you must have the QUADLOCK case specifically for your phone. Here's the QUADLOCK locking system on the back of the case that locks into the bit on the handlebars. I find this a little bit difficult to use one-handed, and you have to push, line up those points on the back, but once it's fitted, it's extremely rigid, no movement, holds it in place. To remove it, you just push the button, twist, and it comes off.
So, RAM mount X grip or QUADLOCK? Which is it? Well, this is where it all matters, out on the road. And I hope you can see there's a little bit more vibration from the X grip. The QUADLOCK has very little vibration on it at all. You can place both where you want to see them. In the end, it comes down to personal choice. A lot of people feel that the X grip from RAMMOUNT maybe isn't as secure as it should be, but let me tell you right now, it is. I've used it on off-road bikes, and I've dropped those off-road bikes, and I've never felt like the phone was going to fall out. I've not had the QUADLOCK off-road yet, but I have seen people who do. What about price? Well, the QUADLOCK, as I've got it here, is about £52. The X grip from RAMMOUNT, as I've got it here, is about £75. So there is a little bit of a cost factor involved. Except you can use the RAM mount fittings for other things. It can be part of a system, whereas the QUADLOCK is just for this phone. You can't use it for mounting cameras or GPS devices or other things, or even mounting your phone anywhere else. It's just this. It is really personal choice. I do see that RAM have some wireless chargers for just over £100, but they're not this X grip. They're a sort of a slightly different concept. QUADLOCK, at the time of recording, don't have a wireless mount for phones. They did have, but apparently they're changing them and reviewing them. But I'm sure they will have soon. They do have an anti-vibration fitting for single-cylinder motorcycles that may cause some phone cameras to basically fall apart. And that is one of the problems I had with the X grip from RAMMOUNT, although that wasn't a failure of the mount. It was just that I had it on a single cylinder Yamaha XT and the vibration was just too much and destroyed the camera. That's your luck. That's another point about the RAM mount system. You could have just one handlebar mount on one bike and another one on another bike that you might own, and move the arm and the grip between bikes, whereas the quad lock would be more difficult to do because you have to undo Allen bolts. So therefore you'd probably want to have one of these for each one of your bikes. But again, it's a little bit cheaper. So there's no definitive yes or no. It is what you want and what you want to pay, and the particular circumstances you find yourself in. I've tried them both. This is what I think of both of them, and it's entirely up to you. Oh, by the way, neither company gave me these. These are both systems I bought myself, so it's a totally unbiased view. But the choice is yours. If you like this video, there'll be more to follow. Please subscribe. Don't just watch and go away. Subscribe so you get notifications of my next videos. They could be more about equipment, or they could be about tips on riding and advanced riding, but please subscribe. See you again soon.